There's a new game taking over the internet. Let's talk about Deadlock. Deadlock is Valve's new hybrid third-person shooter MOBA. It's been an internet sensation ever since they opened up to public testing. For anyone unaware, Deadlock is a third-person hero shooter where the objective isn't to kill the enemy team, but to destroy the enemy machine constructs, push into their base, and eventually destroy their patron to win the game. But the enemy team isn't about to step aside and let you stroll into their base. It'll be a 6v6 battle to defend your buildings and destroy theirs. This classic MOBA formula crossed with third-person shooter gameplay has made Deadlock unique and popular. Deadlock is only in its alpha playtesting phase right now and has over 160,000 players active every day. But there's one thing I haven't seen anyone talk about. Deadlock is losing money. Now, there are two reasons for this. The first is development cost. As any huge online game does, Deadlock has a whole team working on it. Their last patch notes were thousands of words long. Every game has a development cost they have to pay their team. That's not unusual, and it's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about is the second, server cost. Using this Reddit post as a very loose reference, to run servers for hundreds of thousands of people is not cheap. There's a reason that alpha playtests aren't usually public and open to hundreds of thousands of players, and it's because they're not monetized. Deadlock isn't making any of that money back. I like Deadlock, and I'm not enough of a fool to think it's about to die out. Valve is developing it, they run Steam, they have functionally limitless resources when it comes to game development. Valve isn't about to go into the red for development costs of one game plus running servers for it, but it does make me wonder when, and more importantly, how they're going to start making their money back. It's time to do some research. I started looking first at Counter-Strike Global Offensive, one of Valve's heaviest hitters. CSGO originally cost $15 USD. In 2018, 6 years after its initial release, it became free to play. At first glance, this decision doesn't make any sense from a business perspective, so let's dive a little deeper. Free-to-play games had been on the rise in the latter half of the decade, and Valve realized that they could expand their audience by going free-to-play. Smart move. To this day, Counter-Strike is still free to play and it still makes money. The profits they made from players buying the game were always a drop in the bucket compared to the money made from skins. For decades now, Counter-Strike has had its own market where players can buy and sell skins on the Steam marketplace. But where did these skins come from? At the end of each match in Counter-Strike, crates with a random skin from a limited pool have low chances to drop. By themselves, they do nothing but sit in your inventory, tempting you. But for the low price of $250, you could pop that sucker open to find a weapon skin worth maybe 10 cents on the Steam marketplace. Oh yeah, baby, that's what I like to call a profit. Wait. No. If you got lucky, you could open a case and find a skin worth hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Counter-Strike made money by promoting gambling. By creating an online black market, Valve created a whole virtual economy that was completely unregulated. There were gambling sites that I was on when I was 13. It was lucrative for Valve to let this continue, even though these betting sites were eventually purged. Another multiplayer Valve game, Team Fortress 2, was always free to play. Funnily enough, it was also monetized with crates that kids would spend way too much money gambling on. In Valve's online multiplayer games, gambling has always been where the money comes from. Recently, though, gambling's been phased out of a lot of Valve's competition. Overwatch, released in 2016, was seen as the spiritual successor to Team Fortress 2. The game wasn't free to play like TF2 was, it cost $40, and that was worth it back when the game was fun. It still had loot boxes though, it couldn't be a spiritual successor to TF2 without gambling.
My god, that's adorable!
6 years later though, Overwatch 2 came out, and look at that. Free to play, not a loot box in sight. But if you want any of the new characters, you'll have to buy our 10 battle passes. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I miss loot boxes. In 2020, Valorant launched as the premier competitor to Counter-Strike and has been an absolute smash hit. Valorant stayed away from loot boxes completely in exchange for a seasonal cosmetic battle pass and a rotating weapon skin shop. But this isn't to say that loot boxes are completely gone in mainstream video games. One of the biggest battle royales today, Apex Legends, still has them, and they make a comically large amount of money promoting gambling.
440 cases!
Okay, hold on. Let's do the math here. One case equals $1. That heirloom cost $440. The point I'm trying to make here is that gambling and loot boxes seem to be getting less and less common, at least in the shooter genres. Gacha games are another story. Whether that's due to governments regulating online gambling or because companies have found other methods to be more profitable, I can't say for sure. And so our research has borne fruit. Valve has options to monetize Deadlock. Option 1. When the game fully releases after its testing phases have completed, charge the player base to buy the full game in order to play it. This would be just like CSGO and Overwatch Classic, which were both clearly successful and made ridiculous amounts of money. The problem here is that hundreds of thousands of people are already playing the game completely free of charge. If they were to suddenly take Deadlock away from their already established and thriving player base, people are gonna get mad. And rightly so. This would be a really shitty thing to do and would shatter the trust that Deadlock's players have in the development team. I can confidently say that Valve won't do this. Option 2. Deadlock is free to play. They implement a cosmetic system that's designed to keep the game profitable, with a forever rotating skin shop of new goodies to keep the players spending money. This may be weapon skins like Counter-Strike and Valorant, or full character skins like League of Legends. Selling the players skins for weapons would let them customize each character to their liking and still be small enough of a change that Deadlock's visual clarity wouldn't suffer. But if Valve decides to make full character skins, they'd probably make more money. People love cosmetics. And sometimes the allure of a full new character design that fits an aesthetic that you love beats out the idea of just a cool weapon skin. Deadlock is also a third-person game, meaning that the character you play as is always visible on your own screen. A weapon skin would be much harder to see in a game like Deadlock, and if you can't see a cosmetic, then what's even the point? To take it even further, in both Counter-Strike and Valorant, games where you customize just your weapons, there are also a ton of different weapons to customize, all of which you could buy and use in each and every game. In Deadlock, your one character is your only character for the next 20 to 50 minutes. Visually speaking, nothing about your character changes throughout a match of Deadlock. I think that it's pretty likely for full character cosmetic skins to be added at some point. How they distribute these possible skins is completely up in the air. I am sick of loot boxes. Get gambling out of video games. Promoting gambling with real money to such a huge demographic that includes children is wrong. Another possible option would be a rotating cosmetic skin shop similar to Valorant, or a non-rotating shop where you can buy cosmetics as you please. A rotating shop, though, is far more likely, mostly because selling something and making it seem like it's limited is a very strong marketing tactic. But I really hope that however they monetize Deadlock, it doesn't involve gambling. Option 3, a combination of 1 and 2. I want to be clear, Deadlock is a great game. Charging a fee to play Deadlock would be more than fair because the gameplay really is phenomenal. But Deadlock won't have an entry fee for 2 reasons. The first, I've already mentioned. Valve missed their chance to sell access to the game when they opened up the free public playtest to hundreds of thousands of players. People would be pissed. The second reason is because it's not just a hero shooter. It's half MOBA. MOBAs are not newcomer friendly. They're complicated, they take time to learn, and so being accessible is extremely important. Notice how rare it is for a MOBA to be pay to play. Valve understands that they're not going to suddenly make their hundreds of thousands of players pay for something they already have access to. That would alienate the player base when Valve could instead capitalize on the opportunity they've already created for themselves in Deadlock's hugely successful public alpha. I strongly believe that Valve will choose option 2. Deadlock will be free to play with skins added in the future. Players who are already here will be happy to spend money on a game they already love. Deadlock will likely be in development for a while still, but I have no doubt they'll make their money back as soon as Valve begins to monetize it. I don't know when that will be, but I'll have my wallet ready. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any related ideas or theories, then feel free to sound it in the comments. I'm happy to discuss, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Help me out. Everybody say bye, Ogre Pine. Bye, Ogre Pine.